be very careful and very alert in this matter as well, because Istanbul is the top city in drawing the country's destiny, because among our 81 provinces, in Istanbul we have representatives from all 81 provinces. There are people from all other cities living in this city. So once we can raise our voice in Istanbul, it would resonate in the remaining 81 provinces. If we can closely keep the pulse of Istanbul, that means we can also capture Turkey. In this regard, you have an important duty to fulfill, starting with every individual on the streets. We must access all districts. We must be able to convey the services that we have carried out. Only if we can do only this, we can easily correct these slanders and lies against our party, which spread quickly, but once they meet the truth, they are easily put out like a small fire. So we need to express the truth and facts to our nation in order to do this. Turkey, in the past 17 years, has had one of the biggest leaps of its history, but it has also faced some of the greatest attacks of its history. The target of the attacks was first and foremost the AK Party. In fact, the fate of Turkey and of AK Party are one and the same. People who love Turkey love us. People who are furious at Turkey are mad at us. Those who hate Turkey similarly hate us. The nation can see this fact, and in every one of our struggles, they side with us. Recently, we are carrying out operations in Syria, and we are fighting terror within our own borders, and we are taking some strategic steps in the Mediterranean which are causing a lot of fury against our country. And more importantly, right now, thanks to the Peace Spring operation, we are carrying out a process in Syria which is a clear sign of where Turkey has come. Thankfully, every leader that I talk to in every part of the world, they always give us the advice that when will we leave the zone? This is the first question they ask, and what we tell them in return is, what are you looking for there? What are you doing there? We share a border of 911 kilometers, but do you share a border? You don't. In that case, why are you there? 30,000 trucks of weapons and ammunition. Who have you given these to? To the terrorists. Who are these terrorists? Interestingly, these are Kurds. But how come? How can they be Kurds? We are the ones who fought the biggest war against Daesh. In Elbab, we have removed 3,000 Daesh terrorists from Elbab. There is no other country in the world who has carried out such a conflict against Daesh. Can you claim otherwise? In the last four-way summit, England, France, Germany, in that summit we have stated the same. We have expressed these facts quite frankly. So why are you there? You cannot tell us that you, as long as you don't leave that place, the Syrian people as long as Syrian people don't say, thank you, you can now leave, we're not going to abandon. Because we are there thanks to the Adana Memorandum, and we're there because of the request of Syrian people. And the process is still ongoing. There is nothing they can say in return, and they're unable to. France, for instance, you can see the situation that they're in at the moment. Everywhere in France is being burnt down or being taken down. Because those who try to thrive on oppression cannot succeed. My brothers and sisters, similarly, as you know, between Turkey and Libya, a memorandum of understanding has been signed. With this memorandum of understanding, we have agreed on an agreement, we have ratified in the parliament an agreement on the limitation of maritime jurisdiction. I have signed the agreement as well. So it has been sent to the UN. And with this, hopefully, our military security and limiting maritime jurisdiction are going to be areas where we have taken our steps. Of course, some plans have been ruined. I'm not going to mention any names, names of which countries plans have been destroyed. As politicians, you will read about them and you will know. As their plans were turned upside down, Greece, Southern Cyprus and Egypt, and from time to time Israel, they meet. They even took a scandalous step, which is Greece deported the ambassador. And what did they gain out of it? What purpose did it serve? We do such things from time to time. Our ambassadors are sometimes deported, and when they do, in return we deport theirs. This is not speaking the language of politics and rather ruling a country through scandals. That is what Greece is doing at the moment. We have been decisive about our stance in Libya, and we will continue doing so. But now between Libya and Turkey, there is thankfully, a very interesting and very nice line that has been built. Through this line and around its line, in that exclusive economic zone, from past to present, as the guarantor state, we have some rights. And our fellows in Syria have certain rights, and we are certain about protecting these rights. We have acquired 2 drill ships and seismic research ships for this purpose. It was not for no purpose that we paid for these ships. Now they are working in the region. They're making their research. And we have other ships in the region as well. We have frigates, planes, and choppers which go to the region from time to time, and will continue making such research. International maritime law gives us certain rights, and we are ready to exercise those rights to the end. Of course, we have some opposing views from within the parliament from time to time, but we have to stand strong. Recent developments have removed all covers. Many countries have now made obvious the hatred, the enmity that they have kept within for years. I believe this development has been positive for our country. Rather than acting bilaterally, it is better that we express our real intentions openly, because this accelerates the resolution of certain problems. In our face-to-face talks or phone calls, now we are talking with other leaders more frankly and more openly. When we agree, we very quickly take action, and when we don't agree, we at least confirm our positions bilaterally, which I believe is a better method for global politics. The sovereignty, law, interests of our country and the rights of our nation and our friends is the purpose of our struggle. And in this struggle, we have always stood tall. As for the developments in Syria, we have reached agreements with Russia and with the US, and we have had some results in the field which are of historic significance. In order to corner Turkey, they have used diplomacy, international politics, as well as economy, but despite all these attempts, they couldn't make us take a step back. Every attack, every step, every weapon employed was pushed back by us very quickly. And every time they attempted, they find a decisive and dedicated Turkey facing them, so they cannot achieve any success. This is one of the reasons why they have hatred towards our country. Different than the past, they cannot push Turkey around or manipulate or control Turkey like they did in the past. This is why they are growing even more aggressive, and that's why they are losing. At the current level of things, in political, military, and economic aspects, Turkey is stronger than it has ever been. In our domestic politics, when there is no real problem, there is an atmosphere being created against my party or against my alliance or myself. This is the reason. They will not be able to divide or fragment the People's Alliance, but rather the People's Alliance will grow stronger towards the future. In the southern border of Turkey, they try to besiege through a corridor of terror. They try to manipulate domestic politics and trying to recover, compensate for their losses, but they will fail in that as well, because our nation can clearly see who is who and who is serving what purpose and who is doing what for what purpose. They're trying to create storms out of minor issues, and they are trying to use it as a blow against us, but these efforts will all be in vain, because our nation will not allow or pay attention to such attempts as long as we preserve our unity, our brotherhood, or our sincerity, our frankness in our words and in our actions, as long as we stick to our values in a strong and decisive way. The rest will take care of itself. I believe our organization in Istanbul will set a model in its attitude to the remaining 80 provinces. Since the election, we have gained 74,000 new members to our Istanbul organization, which means there's a new awakening taking place. Of course, I wouldn't wish it so, but recently, maybe you have it on your phones at the moment. There is a Şehir University issue that they created in Istanbul, and this question of this university has a political leg, they claim, and on the other political leg, they claim that there is the other politician. I would like to say this quite openly and frankly. First and foremost, the land for this university was allocated by myself when I was the Prime Minister. Since I'm the person who allocated the land, after myself, that certain figure became the Prime Minister. He changed the nature of that allocation of land. He tried to transfer the property to the university. But in Turkey, no other university has received such a transfer of ownership of the property. When it comes to words, they claim they're the most honest. But they rather try to donate what belongs to orphans, the right of orphans to the university that they have established themselves. As the chairman of the privatization council, you have received electronic messages with more details on this issue. So how did this come to being? Who does he have with himself? He has another figure next to him, which is Babacan. He has signed this deal as well. Who else? Mehmet Şimşek. Who else? The then Minister of Transport, who was also within the Privatization Council, Feridun Bilgin. So are these the so-called honest politicians? When it comes to claims, they claim they're the most honest. I'm saying this because you can see in their actions who's who. And that's not even all. They even are trying to corrupt Halkbank. They are asking for loans from Halkbank, and Halkbank did extend them a considerable amount of loan. But when you look at their repayment schedule, they do not carry out their payments of installments back to the bank. When this is the case, the bank constantly warns them, notifies them. They have, as far as I can remember, 417 million in debt to Halkbank. They want to restructure this debt. So how is it going to be restructured? Or for what purpose? The campaign that they're carrying out is that they're claiming that the loans of sports clubs have been restructured. So why not restructure the loan of the Şehir University? But you have not even given a guarantee, an assurance, a collateral to the bank. The bank is able to have a say on the assets of sports club. What is the bank going to do in the university's case? The area in Maltepe was allocated by myself back in the day when I was the Prime Minister. That land was shown as collateral to the bank, but it used to belong to Tekel. Is that what the bank going to take as collateral? They have another game. They have another dirty trick in which they say the bank can mortgage the payment of universities, but you don't have enough students as is. Without without fulfilling your student quota, how can you pledge the tuitions of future students to the bank as collateral. The president who came before me called me and he requested that I solve this issue. I told him, I wish you were in my shoes. We know how banks went bankrupt in the past, and in the past 17 years during our rule, none of our banks had to go bankrupt. None of them had an empty case, and we cannot allow this to happen, for banks to have empty vaults. Since the beginning, Ülker Group has made serious contribution to the university, and they withdrew at some point. And for the support that we have extended until then, they clearly expressed the support that we have given them in the past. I must say this openly. The sponsor of this place is Marmara University. Marmara University is one of the largest universities in Turkey at the moment. And now they're claiming that Marmara University should pay the debt, and the Higher Education Council then asks them to withdraw from the board of that university so that Marmara University can assign new members of the board, but they don't want to let go of those positions either. So the plan here is different. We are not against the students of that university, nor an enemy to the faculty members. In no private university, anything similar to theirs has been done. Unfortunately, we have faced such a situation in this university, but you have received information in electronic messages, and if you go through that message, you will find more detailed information on the issue. I don't want to go into any more detail for now, but as I have said, Halkbank has been corrupted.
Değerli kardeşlerim, tabii bizim burayı tahsis etmemiz,
when we allocated land for the university, it was because we were attaching significance to them to a great degree. If I was against this person, or if I was against the students of the university, I wouldn't give such a valuable land of tekel to this university, because our purpose was that we would have such universities and have more of them, so that we can march towards future in a better way. It's a beautiful plot of land which has a view of the Marmara Sea, and in terms of its market value, $2.5 billion. It was allocated to the university free of charge, and he transferred the property to the university, but this cannot be done free of charge. How can this be? You claim to be honest, but if this is your honesty, then this country is going to go bankrupt. And the other names that I have mentioned, they have also signed this deal as the chair and members of the privatization council. We have had such a situation, and may we never face such an incident ever again. They are now carrying out a propaganda, a negative propaganda, but they are failing and will fail each passing day. We have talked about these issues yesterday as well, and we will continue taking our steps in a decisive way. May God help us. As I conclude my address, we are of course taking one more step. Do you know who brought this to the State Council? It was the Chamber of Architects and Engineers, who always sides with the main opposition party, and now they're being visited by prominent figures of CHP, the main opposition party. The court case is filed by the chamber, but the speaker of the party or their deputy presidents of the party are making visits to them. So it's very complicated who's siding with who, but we must be alert to the facts and we must be able to convey this message to our members. Now we will shift to the advisory part of our meeting. Once again, I greet you and let's continue our member recruitment activities for our youth branches, our women's branches, our district branches. And let's carry out Congress events, and may God help us.
AK Parti Genel Başkanımız, Cumhurbaşkanımız Sayın Recep Tayyip Erdoğan'a konuşmaları için çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Ve bir müddet kendilerini sahnede misafir ediyoruz. Sizleri yerlerinize davet ediyoruz. Buyurun lütfen. Günün anısına hediye takdim olacaktır. Sayın Cumhurbaşkanımız, AK Parti İstanbul İl Başkanlığımız her zaman mazlumlara sahip çıkmanızdan ilhamla adınıza Tanzanya Kojani Adası'nda yaptırdığı su kuyusu ve şadırvanın 1/25 ölçekli maketini İl Başkanımız Sayın Bayram Şen Ocak İl Başkanlığı adına sizlere takdim edeceklerdir. Buyurunuz lütfen. Çok teşekkür ediyoruz Sayın Cumhurbaşkanımız. Şimdi de üye çalışmalarında başarılı olan 7 ilçemize teşekkür belgesi sizin tarafınızdan takdim edilecektir. Öncelikle birinci olan ilçemiz Beykoz ve Beykoz İlçe Başkanı Muhammed Hanefi Dilmaç, Beykoz Belediye Başkanı Sayın Murat Aydın, Kadın Kolları İlçe Başkanı Sayın Gaye Zayıf, Gençlik Kolları İlçe Başkanı Sayın Furkan Çeliker ve ilçe koordinatörümüz İl Yönetim Kurulu üyesi Sayın Ömer Ayberk Cengiz'i sahneye davet ediyoruz. Hızlı bir şekilde buyurunuz lütfen. Evet, çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Şimdi de ikinci olan ilçemiz